What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, reviewing for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and the movie I want to take a look at right now is Swallow. Now, this one comes from IFC Films. It is written and directed by Carlo Mirabella Davis, and this one stars Haley Bennett as Hunter. She's recently married into this very, very wealthy family, so her husband is taking the family name and, going to work at the family business, and they're making millions or billions or however much their wealth is. It's a lot. It's enough to a point where she doesn't have to physically leave the house to go to another job. So she stays home and, she cooks, cleans, does crafts around the house. She does whatever she can to keep herself busy because it can get very lonely in the house and she's there most of the day. And, I don't blame her. So she tries to find things to occupy her time. So, as we kind of see her in the beginning of the film, it feels like there's something empty within her. Like, it doesn't feel like her life is being fulfilled. And so in order to kind of help that a bit, they become pregnant as a couple, and she is excited about it at first, but then she starts realizing that maybe this isn't for me. And so as she's doing this, she starts swallowing objects, and she starts swallowing batteries, rocks, dirt, thumbtacks, safety pins, whatever she can, because she likes to feel the textures in her mouth. She just likes to swallow objects, gain control of her own body in that particular way. And so as she's doing this, the family is worried about her health and the baby's health, more so the baby's health. And so she's resisting that, and she can't control her condition. And so she's just kind of fighting all these, different directions, while also at the same time trying to figure out who she is. And, we get to know a little bit more about her past and her mom and how she grew up and everything. So that is basically the movie. I won't, go any further into the plot, because in case you haven't read about this movie or watched the trailer, I want you to go into this movie as blind as possible if you choose to do so. So I will stop talking about the plot right there. So for me, in particular, going into this film, I remember seeing one trailer for it. I thought it looked fascinating. I've never seen a movie that centers around this condition, because this is a real life condition that people go through, swallowing objects, and there's even subcategories for this condition where people might only swallow sharp objects or like slimy objects or specifically textured objects. And when you watch this movie, and if you want to go down that Google wormhole, please do. If this stuff interests you, you will find a lot, trust me. But, I didn't know much about the condition, but I thought it was really interesting that they decided to prominently showcase it as a character, trait and kind of a character study of Hunter. And so, yeah, I was on board. It looked like a psychological thriller, maybe even a genre film. It's just a bunch of different things wrapped up into one that really makes me just love movies. And I love that kind of, weirdness of the movie world. And so I saw the movie, and I have to come to the conclusion that I ended up liking the movie. It takes a while to get there, but I really do think this movie is worth your time. And if you like weird movies that kind of are against the norm, very unconventional type of thrillers, give this one a shot. I think you might find even some different things about it. Not just the whole swallowing thing, but maybe some of the themes that Hunter kind of goes through. I think a lot of people might enjoy, because it caught me off guard. I had no idea the story was going to go down that direction, but I ended up liking it towards the end. But then once it ended, I was like, I wanted more. So to start with Carlo a little bit, because he did write this movie, he did direct this movie. So this movie rides on his shoulders, as well as Haley Bennett's performance. And I will say this, just to kind of get off the, delivering the movie as an entertaining piece of entertainment, basically, he does a good job. It's a very quiet, it's a very somber type of thriller. There's a lot of things that happen on screen that aren't elevated by sound effects or loud music. It's just there, kind of presenting itself, and it makes you feel uncomfortable and queasy and just uncertain about where the story's going to go and where the character's going to go. So crafting a piece of entertainment, he does a good job. And an hour and a half, I can't really complain. You get in, you get out. It's short, sweet, and to the point. I think that's a bit of a negative, actually, but I think, doing what he did, it's not a bad little watch when you look at it like that. So a few things I wanted to bring up that kind of about what I liked about Carlo's writing and directing, and as well as just some of the things I didn't really care for and actually bring the movie down for me a bit. Speaking of the runtime, I actually think this movie could have been longer. I think it could have been 2 hours. I could think TV series, just anything, because Carlo really goes into the character study aspect. We get to enter the psyche of Hunter in the middle of this movie, and then like a little bit towards the end, and her character growth up until that final confrontation is really nice. But I also felt like it could have gone deeper. I don't know how you do that, and I don't know how crazier this movie could have gotten. I almost felt like this movie could have pushed the boundaries just a little bit more in terms of visuals and character and story. Go deep in there, and I just, I liked what I saw towards the end, but I felt like he could have done a bit more. We do get to understand why she does this, and we understand her past and how people treated her, how people made her feel really, really small growing up, and how she's kind of lost her voice in society. We get all that, but I felt like it could have been a bit more. It just felt like skimming of the surface, like going underneath just a little bit and kind of coming back up to wrap up the film. Thought it could have done a little bit more. But I appreciate him going into it, because I was getting worried at first as the movie kind of kept going on. I wanted that kind of meat to the story, and we got it. I just wish there was a bit more I could have grasped onto. But this would have made a very interesting TV series, that is for dang sure, or even a documentary about this condition. So really like that. And another thing I wanted to point out that he's kind of playing with in terms of themes is taking control back. This is a character who feels like she's never had control of her mind, her body, her existence. It always feels like people are walking all over her and not really appreciating her, especially when you understand where she came from and how, where her dad was and her mom was at the time that she was conceived. Like, it plays a lot with her mind. And I really feel like she wasn't all mentally there, and people just kept pushing her down. And I think the core of this film, finding your voice and finding your power back, that's awesome. It's something I didn't expect when you're watching the thing and you get to the final 10 minutes of the film. It's really great stuff, and it threw me for a loop, and I was like, this is great. And then I looked at the time, and I was like, I only have 3 minutes left. So the movie was getting so good, I was like, why is it ending? So I really like the theme of taking back control, and Hunter does that. She finds that through swallowing objects, and that kind of leads her off into doing bigger and better things for her confidence and confronting people towards the end and everything. So I really love that about this story, and that's one of my favorite aspects about it, next to the character study, kind of psychosis or whatever. But really, really enjoyed that, and I think Haley Bennett's performance really reflected that. So bleeding into her performance, she does a great job. She's very one note at the very beginning. I was worried that her kind of one note personality to this character was just shy. But as we started to kind of unfold her a little bit, and we get to really dive into what she's just thinking about, how does her mind work? She really had this kind of nuanced performance that I really dug. Nothing was in your face or egregious, especially for a film about swallowing objects and her feeling in pain most of the time. She felt like a real person that was struggling with these things, and really just felt mentally drained, and just felt like she'd been beaten on mentally throughout her entire life. She reflected that in her performance with the nuance. And, towards the end, she has this wonderful character growth that I felt for her towards the end. And, it was just this wonderful kind of bell curve up until the climax of the film that was just really elegant, and it actually kind of matched her character in the setting, because we're dealing with a rich family, a rich house, a big house. Everything is really extravagant and kind of luscious, and so it kind of reflected that in her performance. It was just an elegant performance, and I really wanted to see more of her. Once again, TV series. I don't know how you do that, but do it. But yeah, speaking of the production design, like I mentioned and stuff, it deals with this rich family, and so it's shot well. Everything is nice and clean. It's really a sharp looking film. There's really nothing bad about the way it's presented. It's, like I said, it's elegant. It's nice looking, just like the family and its possessions. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really know what to say, but since I ended up liking this film, I was settling on a B minus, but I think I'm going to lean more towards the B minus only because I felt like Carlo could have done a little bit more with the story and diving deeper into it and really kind of exploring that. But other than that, I enjoyed everything else about this. It's a very strange movie. It opens up your mind to new conditions out there that maybe you've never even heard of before. And, I've never really knew what the exact definition of all that stuff was, so it made me do research. So who knows how this movie will have an effect on you, but I think I ended up liking it. I really enjoyed the theme of it, of taking power back, and I like the performance from Haley Bennett. So if you want to watch something weird, go for Swallow. I think you'll really enjoy it. So that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want more movie reviews like this, and let me know what you thought of Swallow down below. But that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.